I've described how to add markers to a map in response to users typing in locations and to long touch gestures on the map. Now I'll describe how to make a marker draggable and how to update the marker when the drag operation is complete. I'm working in a version of the project called Drag Markers. The first step is to make the marker draggable, and you do this when you create the marker. I'll go to my structure window, and I'm now sorting my methods alphabetically to make them easier to find, and I'll go to the Add Marker method. When you create your marker options object, you can make it draggable by simply calling the draggable method. I'll add the code right here after position with .draggable, and I'll pass in a value of true. And then I'll run the app. I'll go to a location, and I see the marker there. As before, when I touch the marker, I see both the info window and my toast message. And then I can touch away from the marker to make the info window go away. That's called a soft dismiss. And then I'll touch and hold on the marker for a moment and start dragging it around the screen. Now, when I release it, nothing happens. But you can handle the event that occurs when the user stops dragging the marker around. And you can do things like add information to it and explicitly redisplay the info window. So I'll return to my code, and I'll go back to my init map method. This is where I'm setting up all of my event listeners. I'll go down to the end of the last listener, right down here, and I'll add yet another listener. This one is called onMarkerDragListener, and it follows the same sort of syntax as before. I'll start with mmap, then set onMarkerDragListener. The listener will be new, and then once again, this is an interface that's a member of Google Map, and it's googlemap.onMarkerDragListener. And I'll implement the methods, and there are three: onDragStart, onDrag, and onDragEnd. Now I'm going to ignore the start and the onMarkerDrag methods. I'll just close up those methods a little bit. And then I'm going to add code here in onMarkerDragEnd. This code is going to be very similar to how I react when the user touches and holds on the map. So I'll scroll back up here to my onMap long click listener, and I'm going to select most of this code. I won't add a marker because I already have one, but I'll copy that and I'll paste it into place right here inside my new event handling method. Now, just like I did before, I'll create a geocoder object. I'll declare a list of addresses, and then I want to call the method getFromLocation. But in order to do that, I need a latitude and a longitude, and I'll get that from the marker object that was passed into the method. So I'll create a lat_long object. For brevity, this time I'll just call it LL, and I'll get it from marker.getPosition. Then when I call getFromLocation, I'll pass in the latitude and longitude from that object. The request goes to the geocoding service. I get back my list, which contains one result, because that's what I requested right here, and then I get the reference to the result with address add equals list.get0. Now I'll modify the marker. First I'll set its title with marker.setTitle, and I'll pass in the new address's locality with add.getLocality. Next I'll set its snippet with marker.setSnippet, and I'll pass in the address's country with add.getCountryName. And then I'll redisplay the info window with marker.showInfoWindow. So again, I'm ignoring two events, the ones that happen when the drag starts and while it's being dragged around, but I'm reacting when the drag operation finishes. And I'll run the app again. I'll start off once again in New York, and then I'll touch and hold on the marker and start dragging it around. And when I release it, I see the info window. Now I'll zoom out a little bit, and I'll touch and I'll drag it across the river and drop it in New Jersey, and my info window shows correctly that I'm now in New Jersey with my new latitude and longitude. So that's how you can make your application highly interactive by allowing the user to drag markers around to choose destinations instead of just displaying information using markers and info windows.